Hello and welcome to the Anomaly Project, the show that looks at all aspects of the paranormal and anomalous world. I'm Marcus Lau, and this year we're looking at the 45th anniversary of the Rendlesham Forest incident. So joining me as he does every week is Steve Mera. Now, Steve, I'm sure you're looking forward to this. There's lots to speak about. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. Can't believe it's 45 years. Makes me feel old.
Absolutely does. Now, joining us tonight is a researcher and filmmaker, Mark Christopher Lee. So, first of all, Mark, thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
Yeah, no, thanks for inviting me. It's much appreciated. Yeah, I'm doing okay, thank you.
Excellent. Now, so we're looking forward to this. Now, as I mentioned there, it's the 45th
Mm.
anniversary of the Rendlesham Forest UFO incident. So, I wonder if you could just remind our viewers of the basics of that and just tell me what dragged you into actually looking at this? Because I believe you've uncovered some further evidence as well.
Yeah, it's the most interesting case in ufology, in my opinion. Most of the story centers around like 45 years ago, Christmas weekend, at RAF Woodbridge, RAF Bentwaters, twin US Air Force bases, part of NATO alliance. Over that weekend, officers reported seeing lights in the forest and things like that. And then some of them actually went out into the forest where they saw an alleged craft with hieroglyphics on. Jim Peniston, one of the servicemen, claimed to have touched the craft and had a mysterious binary code download, which I always found a bit hard to believe, but I'll tell you more about that later. And then Colonel Holt went out to investigate, took a team and did his infamous dictaphone recording, which people can still hear and it's still really, really weird. And as far as I'm concerned, it's still unexplained. There's been various people put forward various theories about what it was, everything from alien spacecraft to time travelers to secret tech being tested or even pranks by the SAS. There's so many different theories out there, and it's part of UFO mythology in this country. And it's like the Roswell, which is why I've made this new film, the Rendlesham UFO, the British Roswell. However, just a quick bit about the film. It does cover the 1980 incident, but what I was more interested in and what got me into it was speaking with people that had been back to Rendlesham since and had weird, anomalous experiences that couldn't be explained. And they showed me quite a lot of evidence of various photos, videos, even rocks that had fallen from the sky and been sent off to be tested. Most of this information came from retired CID police officer John Hanson, who runs an archive in Stratford upon Avon. And he also co-authored two books on Rendlesham with Colonel Charles Holt. So he was executive producer on our film. So we had a lot of knowledge from him. So we really drilled down into those experiences that people had since 1980. And then we went there ourselves and had some weird things happen to us. So yeah, thanks for asking.
Yeah, well, I mean, could you detail some of those weird things before we get Steve's thoughts on this? Because it'd be interesting to know, what kind of things did you encounter while you were down there?
Sure. Well, we went there with the intention of trying psionics CE5, which is a bit of a buzzword nowadays. But
Mm.
I'd spoken to a couple of people, Philip Kinsella, a UFO author and psychic medium, who'd been to Rendlesham in 2000 and did a meditation there. It was just called meditation then. And he claimed to manifested a pyramid-shaped UFO. And also spoke to John Hanson. He'd been down there as well, basically hanging out with his mates, having a chill out time in the woods. It wasn't called CE5 then. And he experienced these rocks falling out of the sky. It was really, really weird. And he showed me these rocks and he sent them off to be tested. And I said, it's like they've just been formed. There's no trace elements on them or anything. It's really, really weird. And then he showed me a couple of videos of some orbs. They're in the film, and actually a UFO that they saw. So it's like, whoa, what is going on? And we went there. So with the idea of doing this close encounters of the fifth kind, psionics, whatever you want to call, me and my best mate Guy. He brought along his suitcase full of Guinness. I'm teetotal, but he had a good time. And we chilled out, listened to music because we're both musicians, and
Mm.
played some songs. And then we started hearing this weird electronic buzzing noise emanating from the woods, and it wasn't natural. For the record, I've got an environmental studies degree, so I'm quite au fait with most of the the wildlife in the country, and it was really, really weird. And basically as soon as we started doing this manifesting, it started happening, and it was bouncing around the woods. And then there was one source where it was mainly coming from. It sounded like one of those old synthesizers that they used on Doctor Who, like Delia Derbyshire. That's what it sounded like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So that was weird. And then we saw weird orbs as well in the forest. And so there was me, Guy, and also assistant director Esther. We decided to go into the woods, and we got freaked out big time. But it was, I mean, most of it was caught on camera, which is great for us. Uh, but yeah, it's definitely something weird about that place.
Yeah, I mean, Steve, we've both been down there. It is a strange place. I mean, what are your thoughts? Because I mean, we speak about locations quite a lot. I mean, is the location important here, do you think? I mean,
Well, I think if you just forget about Rendlesham, and look at the location, phenomena has been going on there for a long time.
Mm,
Um, UFOs seen in the sky long before the Rendlesham incident.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Paranormal things, but you know what? There's a lot of association to that area in regarding sort of the fae, the gentry, the small fae things that have been seen. In fact, there's a number of towns throughout the area which is almost named after some of the gentry type experiences that people have had. So it's certainly got a footprint. How long back does that footprint go? Well, I don't really know. I mean, there were rumours. I mean, Mark probably knows better. Actually, there were rumours in regarding the operations of some testing of Tesla type um, equipment and
mm,
things which were carried out in that location.
mm,
Well, not too far away anyway from certainly
mm,
Rendlesham Forest. That could have been indicative to the phenomenon as well.
mm,
We don't know what the adverse side effects are in regarding reality shifts,
mm,
even quantum disturbances, all sorts of different
mm,
things. Though that doesn't seem to be hot on the radar in regards to magnetic anomalies there,
mm,
it certainly has been on the scope for many years. And of course, when Rendlesham took place, it was 3 years before I actually started investigating.
mm.
But really, nobody really knew about the incident in 1980
Ah,
because it was pretty quiet.
mm,
I think it was sort of mid 80s when I started sort of hearing things.
mm,
Um, but I started in 83, and I know Dot Street and
mm,
Brenda Butler were the antagonists of that investigation, really.
mm,
And if it wasn't for them, probably we wouldn't have got much details. And of course, it escalated from then on. But quite a number of researchers in the UK ascended to the
mm.
location, but I didn't really get involved in any of that investigation. What I studied was the effects on the trees in
Right.
regarding the profound storm that took place, and
Mm,
I just spent probably about a year or so investigating the damage from the
mm,
acute storm damage. And I say it's
mm,
acute because I've never seen anything quite like it in regarding the damage to the location, which was profound.
mm,
Um, and that's all I did really.
mm,
But I've been to Rendlesham a few times, and I've seen an object in the sky, and I've photographed an object in the sky over Rendlesham Forest.
mm,
So yeah, I mean, I know people that have been there with Brenda Butler, and
mhm.
I've been there a few times myself. And yes, stones do fall from the forest,
Yes.
and they were quite warm to the touch as well. So it was considered to be like more like poltergeist type phenomena.
Mm,
But they're unusual stones, not really native to the location, really. It's not something, you normally find. So,
mm,
yeah, I can actually vouch for that.
mm,
Absolutely. So it's very, very profound location. Yeah.
What I find strange there about the stones falling, I mean, there's UFO reports from South America and Australia, and I can't remember the intricate details, but of exactly the same thing. UFO sightings, then stones falling to the floor that
mm,
are just not from around there. So is that some
Yeah.
kind of dump?
There's quite a
Um,
mm,
few stones ones.
mm.
In the UK, there's
mm,
I don't know if you remember back to so I think it was in the 70s, late 70s. There was a house in the UK. It was being pelted by
That was in
stones.
Birmingham, yeah. I
That's
remember
right. And,
Arthur C. Clarke did
oh,
an episode on it. It was really
yeah,
interesting.
I mean, it was just profound. And these,
Yeah.
again, were not native to the location. Look like smooth pebbles type
Mm, mm,
stones. They're just
certainly is strange
unusual,
place.
really. And what was so profound is that one of them did actually. apparently from the documentation, hit a window and break a window, and a second one went through the same hole the first one made.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, can I get your thoughts on something about Rendlesham? Because you said it's a strange place. And I don't know if you remember in 2014, Mark, there was a film, The Rendlesham Forest UFO Incident. Now, the
Yeah,
director from that, he when he was doing promo for the film and stuff
Mm.
of that nature,
Mm.
he spoke about speaking to an engineer who said that they'd uncovered wiring and fiber optic wiring that was way far in advance even then. Bear in mind, this was placed in there in 1980. So,
Yeah.
you know, the fact that the military, there was supposed to be nuclear weapons there. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a massive trail. I mean, this is something that I've recently discovered since making the film. I actually spoke to Professor Simon Holland, who's well worth speaking to about this. He's done a lot of research, and he points out that the fact, take the context of the area and the time, 1980s, the Cold War, height of tensions. But next to, I mean, Steve's alluded to this. You've got Orford Ness, which was a secret radar testing station, and there was Martlesham Heath, which was also nearby, also experimenting with all sorts, which is, highly secretive, maybe EMP weapons, that have been used there. And maybe this whole thing was a test of some sort.
Yeah.
It's a possibility, because also what I didn't notice until recently as well is that just 24 hours later, after the Rendlesham 1980 incident, there was the Cash Landrum incident in Huffman,
Yes.
Texas.
Which was another
Not
pyramid shaped
many people
UFO.
make that connection. And is that a coincidence? We got this
Maybe not.
diamond-shaped craft on its side with giving off radiation, causing
Yeah.
injury to people.
And it's certainly a UFO sighting that the military took an active interest in, the
Oh,
Cash
yeah.
Landrum one. I mean, there was talk of threats and all kind of things. I mean, with the Rendlesham one, though, I mean, like Steve mentioned, it was quiet to begin with there. But I think what really thrust it into the public was, and I forget the politician's name, but they read out the Halt memo in the House of Commons, which essentially put it into the public arena. What's interesting about that is that memo was written with no intention whatsoever of it going public. It was an internal memo. So there was no guarded language in that. I mean, what are your thoughts on the Halt memo? Because some people point to that as like, not the smoking gun, but certainly something that really gives this credibility that something happened.
Yeah, I mean, I think it shows that Colonel Halt wasn't in on what it was. He didn't know. So if they were testing something out, he was in the dark about it because he wouldn't have written the memo. What do you think, Steve?
I think that's exactly it. I mean, I've talked with Charles, quite a number of times, and he didn't have a clue, and he has his own theories and ideas and things, and you know what, still is not 100%, but there was some confusion as to what was going on. I mean. You can, like Mark said, you can go down the alien hypothesis sort of thing, or time travel hypothesis. I think it took a different turn when John Penniston came out far too late, really, in my own opinion, in regarding the information he's supposed to have wrote down in regarding this data download. And it was late compared to, the incident. And a lot of people question that. They say, well, why was it so late? Was Charles Holt aware of that? The documentation or notes that he'd made about having this experience. It's a shame that came out late, because it did cause a little bit of, right, okay, well, why has it been left so long that, So, I mean, I'm in touch with John Burroughs, but again, he still has problems in regarding his medical records, and that's questionable from beginning.
Well, this is it. I mean, this is why something definitely happened, because the injuries that these people have sustained, they're real.
They absolutely are, Matt. And the thing is that look where we are now. We've got Gary Nolan, right, at Stanford Research Institute, looking into the effects of individuals having close encounters with this phenomenon, and they are finding that there is scarring on the brain. There's adverse effects on the individuals. Do you not think there's a good reason why John might not have his records? Because he might show very similar things.
Sure.
I mean, I know that the guy said it was okay. They seemed all right at the time. But these things could be happening they're completely unaware of in an environment. Just like radiation, really. You wouldn't know, would you, really? Because these guys that are out there, security officers, they're not carrying radiation meters. They're not carrying any detectors with them on the belts to let them know They just basically just, well, let's see how this goes, sort of a thing. So you don't know if there was some adverse effects, and it might have affected them on the medical. Well, certainly John, anyway. I think who came into quite close contact with it.
Mark, can I just get your thoughts on what we're speaking about the Rendlesham actual? You mentioned about it going back quite a long way. I mean, when I was down there filming with the Dutch television crew, we were speaking about a sighting that occurred there in 1947. I don't know whether you've come across this, but it was quite a close encounter sighting. So, what are your thoughts? Have you come across that in your research? And what's attracting these things to this area?
Well, that's a really good question, and there are. I mean, I think the earliest sighting I got from John Hanson's archive was early 1900s, but all along that east coast,
yes,
there is a lot. And 1980 was a bit of a big year. There's loads of sightings. It wasn't just that weekend.
No.
So, what is it about the area? I mean, Steve's alluded to it a little bit. The mystery of the area, the history. I mean, Sutton Hoo's not far away from Rendlesham, ancient Anglo-Saxon burial. Was that chosen for a reason? I don't know. I mean, also Rendlesham, you're not far from the North Sea, and you've got all these sightings of possible USOs coming out of the sea as well.
That's true. Yeah, I've seen video footage of coming out of the sea, and it was quite surprising to see that on videos. But the actual location, if you look at the incident and you say, okay, let's just put that aside and say, was there anything suspicious that followed it? I mean, okay, you could sort of say, well, you know what, the whole location was kind of shut down to the general public. Of course, the Forestry Commission guys sort of came in, and and of course there was a very profound storm that took place, and it is a profound storm. I'm not reading into it. It was profound because, when I was out there, it reminded me of the photographs of no man's land. I don't know if you ever saw it during the Second World War. It was just there were trees with probably almost a meter thick trunks snapped in half, and small other trees around untouched, just out of the outer region. It seemed like it had just come down and just in a certain location, and it was so profound to see. I couldn't understand it at all. How the effects of they said, look, it was a hurricane or something that came in, but I've seen hurricane effects, and this was very localized, should we say.
Well, that's another detail, isn't it, that shows up in other accounts. I mean, the Atloff Pass incident, there was trees damaged, like literally in several feet away, there was no damage. There was a Welsh UFO incident in the early 80s, where a similar thing. There was another one in the 90s where almost an identical thing. So that is something. I mean, the tree damage is interesting, Mark. What are your thoughts? I mean, touched on the military aspects, and was this some kind of experiment? And I believe it was Jenny Randalls who came out and basically proposed that this was an experiment, and this UFO was a manifestation, but it wasn't like an illusion or hallucination. It was a manifestation that could cause damage to the trees. It was real and not real at the same time. Has your research told you anything along those lines? Have you uncovered anything along those lines? Was this some kind of experiment to monitor reaction?
Yeah, I think I'm edging more that way. The more evidence I do find is that they were testing something out, some exotic, super advanced physics where you are maybe bending space and time, which is what's creating these weird effects. And even Professor Simon Holland proposed a theory that what they did there and tested there is open some sort of weird portal anomaly there, which is why there's still ongoing anomalous phenomena happening. That's a possibility. I mean, at the end of the day, we don't know. We are.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because we do have incidents that predate 1980, which are pretty profound in that location. What is it that is tarnished that location, the area, the ground, the location, even the sky, So there's definitely something. There's a footprint to the phenomena prior to the 1980. Again, of course, when it happened in 1980, it was physical because it climbed on top of the damn thing, which it really shouldn't do, especially on an object that's got sigils on. And it's definitely from the research I know, you stay well away. But, it seemed to be like it was the phenomenon in sort of metaphysical aspects of it. Like 1 minute it's physical, next minute they're not, and this is what we're finding in modern day ufology. In fact, in the paperwork they're referring to it as spiritual technology. What the hell is spiritual technology? we have to sort of look at that and say, look, you know, there's lots of aspects to spins off in different directions when it comes to Rendlesham. However, I was in touch with a woman, and I don't know how credible this is, but she says she was at the location just prior to 1980 when she left and she went back to the US. She didn't hear about the incident at Rendlesham for some years, but after when she heard about it, she came out saying that while she was stationed there prior to 1980,
This is Laurie Rayfelt. I've spoken to her as well. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to say then,
Yeah.
because you know she's saying, look, the things she saw there, and the NHI, non-human intelligence, and things would mean that this place was probably under surveillance or was having some type of incidents taking place even prior to the night of 1980. So it's
Well, there
very
was a
odd.
couple of sightings, but I think is it RAF Bryce Norton, only 2 weeks where there was a sighting very similar. And I think there was a sighting over London as well, around the same time. I think Timothy Good witnessed this, or certainly wrote about it. Also, I mean, in 77, we had the Broadhaven UFO landing. In 78, there was numerous alien abduction accounts, humanoid encounters through England, the UK. These were concentrated on the Mann family. I think there was Mrs. G who was hanging her washing out, and the next minute she woke up and several hours had passed. So it does seem like you say that if it's not leading up directly to Rendlesham, there was an absolute UFO presence, and not just a UFO presence, like an entity presence. So do you think these are connected, Matt? Do you think, you know, that these all are connected and are from one civilization or one entity?
I do think it is all connected. I just don't know whether we've got the capacity to be able to understand. That's my issue. But I just want to say something because we talked about the binary code, the information download. I always thought that was a bit hogwash. I had difficult. That's the hardest bit I had to believe. But when I came back after a really long day's filming, really, really tired, I got back. I live in Hertfordshire, so it was a bit of a drive. I was lying down in bed, and all I could see was ones and zeros in front of me. Okay, so is that me being tired and knowing the Jim Penniston story
Yeah, well,
and
yeah,
my
it's a
mind playing
story.
tricks, or is it, or did something happen? I don't know. I'm being honest. I don't know.
No, it's hard to know.
It's
I mean,
weird.
it's not so much that he obtained the information. It's the information of what it's supposed to mean,
Yeah.
which didn't really help, to be honest with you. We're
No.
talking sort of locations and, you know, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, time travel and obtaining, what is it, down to genetics and this, that, and the other. And I'm just thinking to myself, okay, all right. What at the end of the day, though, it's hard to know. We will never really know. I think one thing that stands out, though, is that there was an effort to hush this up. I mean, Lord Hill Norton came out, and look, they said that there was no defence significance, and it was an absolutely great paragraph. He said, he stated that, look, you know, you've either got an incident that's taking place at it's a nuclear house place location, where the people which are looking, you know, and watching these things, you know, looking after these nuclear locations, are witnessing UFOs and beams of light. If that is the case, then that's a massive defense significance. If it's real and it did happen, then it's also a massive defense significance. So either way,
you're right. I mean,
defense significance.
people forget about the beams of light being shone down on the nuclear storage area, but also they had these big light alls which would come out, these big lights they used outdoors, and they were malfunctioning, all of them, and they would replace one, bring another one back, and that would malfunction. Something electromagnetic was going on.
There were balls of light, though, it was seen, which is usually a predecessor to manifestation phenomena. Balls of light were seen to cause the lights to go a little bit funny. I think actually one of them passed through a vehicle.
Yeah.
One of the actual officer's vehicle at the time. So there was certainly the presence of what we are seeing more of now, which is the intelligent light formations. We're seeing more of them in the UK than structured craft at the moment, which has been all classed under the umbrella of UAP, of course. But they do seem to be intelligent or sentient, you know, and interactive with individuals. So we have to say okay, well, it's interesting that a lot of the things that were reported we know are legitimately being seen and reported elsewhere.
Yeah, it's resonating now, isn't it? Really, in the
True.
modern day and age. I mean, one more thing. Well, not one more thing about Rendlesham, but just going around all the conspiracies and rumors that swirl around it. There's been rumors for years that this was captured on film by the military.
Yeah.
Now, again, what's your research tell you? Is this true?
Well, probably
Is
what you
it
found out as
nonsense?
well, that
I mean, obviously, nobody's seen this.
some general had it hushed off, sent to Germany
That's
as
right.
Oh,
well.
That's
yeah,
right.
was it
But
Yeah,
who all
Rhinestein Air
knows?
Force Base or something? Got rushed
yeah,
off to
yeah.
Rhinestein Air Force Base.
I mean, that general definitely was at the base during that time. Now, whether he did actually do anything, that's
But
another
what
matter.
interesting thing I did find out, Steve might know, knowing Brenda Butler and Dot Street, but going through the original archives and records, there was an investigator called Peter Parrish.
Yeah.
Okay, and he drew a map of what happened, and just from eyewitness testimony. And on this map, he's got six craft, not just one.
Right. Okay. Can you tell
And
us a little bit more about that, actually? Because
he says
what's
they were taken back to Germany to a
the crafts
NATO base.
themselves?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, what are your thoughts on that, Steve? Because I mean, I was aware of that through
I
your
don't know.
research, Mark. But I mean,
I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah.
about that. I mean, I've talked with Peter about this, and you know what? I'm not fully on
Uh,
board with it, to be honest with you.
yeah.
I think we'll be finding more data, or certainly
Mm.
something regarding activities anyway. But I don't know. I mean, of course, you know, you also got to be careful that data that ends up coming out later
Mm.
could be disinformation to throw you off in a different angle. You know,
Sure.
so you've always got to be really conscious. I mean, I like the raw data. It's great to be on a job
Yeah.
when the information and it's recent and it's happening, you know, not long ago. So that's good. It's when you go back now years and suddenly something pops up, you have to sort of say, because it has. I mean, how many people have come out of the woodwork over the years? It takes Rendlesham into different angles and different things.
oh yeah,
You know, I mean, if we to believe some people, it'd be a Close Encounters of the Third Kind movie, you know, but at the end of the day, we can
Mm.
only go off off the data rather, what we've got, hard evidence.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because there was ground effects.
Well,
You know, the police were present, you know, in regard to them. Photography was taken of the locations of the ground, you
mm.
know, where they came to ground. There was effects on the trees. Photographs of, there were photographs of the trees and
Oh,
filming
yeah.
of the trees. You know, the effects of the trees and they were damaged as the craft went through.
Mm.
You know, I mean, it didn't go through the trees. They literally banged into literally parts of
Yeah.
them. Twigs and things fell off. Disturbances. Of course, there was a light passing through the woods, which was initiated.
Mm.
First thing that Holt saw was, well, he said it was like a blinking eye, but it was dripping molten
Well, yeah,
metal.
you've
yeah,
got his recording.
Yeah,
yeah. Which
You
you can
know.
still find and play. I mean, it is fascinating listening. I
Yeah.
mean, it's interesting that you said there, Steve, about
Mm.
because this is a particularly controversial case, and as you say, people seem to come in at some all angles, and it just is one of those cases that, for some people, kind of just rouse them up the wrong way. I think that's indicative, though, that the fact that there is so much disinformation that it's
Yeah.
almost like purposely
there
trying
is.
to muddy the
There's
waters.
something there at the core. It's just like
Sure.
Roswell, isn't it?
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you
yeah.
go back, look at Roswell, you've got something at the core. Then later, what happened? Oh, well, it was crash dummies. Oh, it was mogul project this, project
Sure.
that. And you know what? It's just all right. But the
Th-
core,
yeah.
they've gone to great effort. I mean, have you ever seen the size of the Roswell report thing? I mean, the one
Mm.
they last did. It was
Yeah.
like this thick.
Mm.
But how much effort have they gone into to not to keep what the core information was? So I think at the core, Rendlesham, there's
Mm.
definitely something that's gone on there, which is a bit, yeah, a little bit hokey. And there's something supernatural, paranormal, ufological, whatever we want to call it, simply happened there. But then later on, lots of different things. And you don't know if it's disinformation or
Well,
somebody's
no, this
done
is
it on
it.
purpose.
Yeah, what are your
That's why.
thoughts on that, Matt?
Well, that's why we made the conscious effort to make the film about our own investigation there, not because I don't know 1980. But like you say, there's a lot of information out there. People have got different theories. So we decided to go there, film, see what we could find ourselves. And we had an EMF reader. It was spiking out, from nowhere. We couldn't explain it. What was
No, no,
causing
there
that?
are
There's nothing
certainly
there to
anomalies.
cause it.
Yeah.
And there's something electromagnetic there going on, in my opinion. And then we had this electronic sound we can't explain
Mm.
that appeared from nowhere.
Yeah.
We also had this weird medical surgical smell. It was really weird.
There's the smell of ether.
Is that what it is? Yeah, that maybe
The
that's
smell
it.
of ether sort of passes through, which is interesting because
Yeah.
the smell of ether is associated to the Colares UFO incidents, you know, that
Right,
Right.
took
yeah,
place in
interesting.
Brazil.
That's another detail that resonates
Yeah,
again.
ether, not sulfur, ether, you know, which is
I mean,
interesting.
Mhm.
It is, like you say. I mean, the Rendlesham thing does resonate with other cases. I mean, do you think, Mark, that there is going to be further information to come out on this? And this will lead me nicely into the next thing that we should speak about, because I know you've petitioned King Charles III on this to actually put pressure on and release information. And we'll get onto that later as well a little bit more, because there's a bit of an history with the royal family and UFOs and their interest in them. But do you think we'll find any more out? Do you think someone like King Charles would use his influence? I mean, tell me a bit about that petition as well. How did that come about?
I mean, I go through phases when I think that we should get disclosure and the truth, and there needs to be someone high up releasing it. But then I'm thinking, I chat to other investigators, and I think that it's not going to happen. Various reasons. Probably because the truth is far too weird for us to comprehend. I think that's the issue we've got with disclosure, that it's not just ETs from other planets crash landing for some reason. We could probably deal with that. There's something weirder, like involving other dimensions or other realities. I don't know the answers. You do the research. There's definitely something more weird to this phenomena than just nuts and bolts. And Steve's alluded to that earlier. Jenny Randall's, like you're saying, is entering the land of Oz to some extent.
It really is, yeah. I mean, we didn't know this years back in the 80s. I mean, in the 80s, it was pretty well known that the hypothesis. This is the guy. Well, the best investigators in the country. What were they thinking in 1980, 1982, 83, 84, 85, 86, so on? You know, throughout the 80s, it was these are extraterrestrial. These are nuts and bolts craft. You've got exotic power engines or whatever to get them from travel the vast distance of space to come here. And we're seeing exotic technologies. All that seems to be incorrect if you look at the data where, you know, if for any research that's gone through the time, it's flipped it on its head. Even the governments, you know, are changing the narrative, aren't the NHI, interdimensional, all that you notice ETs are being dropped. You notice extraterrestrial is being dropped. You know, so we are shifting. Maybe the pill's too big to swallow that. The evidence. NASA said we have no evidence of ET of extraterrestrials. I'll say that the UFOs of extraterrestrial. Arrow, Pentagon UFO program concluded we don't believe they're extraterrestrial. Not enough evidence. So what they're trying to tell us is slowly move us out of the where we were to a new narrative. But back then it was different. Back then, it was very nuts and bolts thing, and how they here, how they travel. Why would aliens come to the forest? Well, it's because of the nuclear weapons. Because they seem to know, whoever these things were, they knew more than the general public. Let's just put it that way, because they fired beams down onto the locations of where the warheads were being kept.
Just secret.
Nobody really, and no public in the UK knew they were keeping warheads there. You know, so that was a very high sensitive thing, that, you know, so whoever these were, they were associated to somebody who had knowledge about that, which was interesting. Take into consideration it's 1980.
I mean, Matt, what are your thoughts on the Cold War there? Because the Cold War is it's interesting in its own right anyway, and everything that was going on, the secrets that were being exchanged. But do you think that played a part in this? It certainly played a part in setting the scene for secrecy. But, you know, is there any credence to the fact that we are looking at some kind of highly advanced Soviet machine, for example, which I find unlikely, but it has been proposed?
Well, yeah, that obviously that's one of the theories, and I think someone proposed it was a Russian satellite that landed. But
yeah,
I think I don't think it was.
No,
I checking his head.
Yeah.
But I think the important issue here with disclosure is that there's many UFOs and many things, UAPs. Okay, they could be extraterrestrial aliens. They could be our technology. They could be reverse engineered technology. They could be interdimensional beings. There could be all sorts of things. It's not just one answer, I don't think, and that's part of the problem.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no one size fits all, I don't think.
No, I agree completely.
And it's muddy, and you know, those in the know, in authority, muddy the waters with the extraterrestrial hypothesis. Maybe now, you know, just to cover up maybe their own exotic technology they're testing out, because you know they don't want their adversaries to know. I mean, we're seeing a lot of this with the drones that's happening at the moment. You know, that's something new that's happened.
Well, the interesting thing about the drones is they've not actually recovered any of these drones. They've not actually pointed the finger at any. You would think if it's somebody flying, whether it's an individual or a government agency, they would have something to release to the public, but they've just kind of like shut the airports down, reopened them again, and not actually commented on on anything. And this is like, UK, Europe, America. So it's interesting you bring up the drones. Well, I wasn't going to mention it, but what are your thoughts on that? Do you think there's more to these drone sightings than just drone sightings?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, you've got Putin and you've got China. I'm sure they're involved massively.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, to say they're not is, I don't know. I mean,
I got told at the top end that the drone war's been going on since. It sounds like a Star Wars film, doesn't it? The
yeah,
drone wars have been going on since 2014.
right.
And he was out in Israeli UFO documents. I mean, the Israelis aren't
Mm,
shy of using the word UFO,
mm,
but they have scrambled their jets to clear some of these things
right.
from airspace over their military bases. They
Mm,
didn't call them UFO drones. They didn't call them UFOs. They said they were pill-shaped CIA drones.
right. Mm,
So do you know what? There's a lot of things that we don't know, and
mm,
we cannot sit back and think even military pilots would have the information.
mm,
Why do they have a need to know? Why does Charles Holt, commander of the base, have a
mm.
need to know? Because he clearly didn't.
No, it's all compartmentalizing.
So this
Mm,
compartmentalization does go on.
mm,
Someone somewhere knows some stuff that was going on, certainly. But you know what? I'm not sure. I'm unsure, Mark, if were any of the warheads affected. Do you know any of the nuclear housing affected with the beams of light? Because I
mm,
never got any information ascertained. Because we've had other stories of other places,
mm.
Maelstrom, and
That's
other
right.
ones around the world
Mm.
Mm,
where they've been affected by these lights, these beams of lights coming down from these particular craft. But I couldn't find any data to suggest, because they were seen entering into, the
mm,
beams of light into that locations where they were being housed, the grass bunkers, but
mm.
not anything, no information ascertained
I don't
to
think
if
they
they were
even
No.
affected or
admitted
not.
that they even housed those weapons, to be perfectly honest with you. I think it came out later, but there
Yeah,
certainly
yeah.
wasn't any official. I mean,
No,
obviously, like you mentioned, the
they couldn't.
secrets upon secrets. I mean,
Yeah,
we
that's what we're
mentioned
dealing
about the
with.
royal family and
Mm,
Prince Philip had an interest, but Lord Mountbatten, for example, he
mm,
witnessed UFO in his own land. Have you come
mm.
across any research about the infamous, if you like, Room 801, where the UK government was actually studying UFO sightings way back in the 1950s, and then it kind of went hush hush after that? I mean, what are your thoughts on that, if any, Matt?
Yeah, I haven't got much on that to be perfectly honest. It's not the road I've gone down. I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Because I don't know what your thoughts are on Nick Pope, because I've known Nick quite a long time and he's quite a
Right.
controversial figure.
Oh, yeah.
And people are saying, "Oh, he's feeding you disinformation." I'm going, "Oh, is he?"
No, no. The thing is, Nick knows his stuff. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong.
he does. Yeah.
But he comes from a family that having MOD involvement,
Mm,
and at the time, Nick never used to give me anything
mm,
because I was
yeah.
researching when he was in office, and
Mm,
he was a secretary in a sense of
mm,
speaking.
yeah.
Um, he wasn't part of any UFO investigation or anything
Mm,
really. He had a job. The
mm,
thing is that I got to find out a lot more after Nick left because Gaynor South, who took over
mm,
Nick's position, was a good friend of mine, and then I became friends with Kerry Philpott, who was also
mm, mm,
same position, and they were always honest. I mean, in fact, Kerry Philpott from the MOD used to ring me
mm,
and give me details as to what was going on. The thing is, though, I mean, when you talk about these old branches of looking into the UFO phenomena,
mm,
like you've just mentioned,
mm,
Marcus, it was alleged that this is where the birth of Defence Intelligence Staff 55 came, DI 55,
mm.
which they would have been the ones responsible, nothing to do with a secretariat taking the phone calls and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, and they do. But I mean, we've passed everything over to the US now. We've closed to the public in
Mm,
regarding reports and stuff, and we are part of a bigger group now, which is associated to a lot of the stuff that goes on in the US. So we've kind of handed it over the
mm.
control. But you know what? We still have incidents here, and they still are
Yeah.
documented
Well, that leads
because
me.
they never released my stuff from the MOD. I've sent stuff where police officers and all sorts of things,
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
and
yeah.
they said, "Oh yeah, transparency. We've come clean. We've released all the documents." Well, I still
Yours
five.
haven't been released.
My five have not come out yet. Why?
Well, that leads me into nicely. But Matt, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think UFOs are still being studied by the UK? Because, like Steve mentioned there,
Definitely. Yeah.
they do say that
Absolutely. 100% they are. Of course they are.
and do you think
Uh,
that's in correlation with the United States? Because some researchers
yeah,
suggest
I
that they
think
are working
Steve's
together.
completely right. The United States, as far as I know, controls the agenda. They're in charge of it. I just want to mention something that I did uncover, and Steve might know this already, but there was a crop circle researcher, 80s, 90s, Colin Andrews. Okay, he was shut down by the Thatcher government. He was investigating crop circles for Thatcher secretly, Sir Nicholas Ridley, the minister, and he found all sorts of weird evidence of something strange going on. I'm not saying all crop circles are anomalous. A lot of them are hoaxes. There are some that can't be explained. These were all, yeah. So, and he was basically censored, and he's talking about recently, and there's things he was made to take off his website. He would give talks and he say, I can't talk about this because, I've been told not to.
Do you think that was in correlation with Reagan? Because people have pointed out Thatcher and Reagan had
possibly.
deals
I
on
mean,
this.
this ties into kind of Rendlesham, Star Wars, possibly.
Yes.
I don't know. And then you've got the crop circles, which mostly all happen in Wiltshire, Southwest, right next door to Salisbury Plain, big MOD area. Is that a coincidence?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, the crop circles thing's interesting because, like you say, some of them are certainly hoaxes, but some of them do contain
Interesting
information. So, I mean, there's a connection to the military there. I mean, what could that be? Because the military aren't going to be going around making these. So, it almost, if there's a connection to the military, it makes you think, well, is this some kind of bizarre technology? So, I mean, have you got any thoughts on that, Mark and Steve, basically?
Yeah. Steve, what are your thoughts? I mean, I've got my own.
Well, you know what? What are you talking crop circles, Marcus?
Yeah.
I mean, because some of these crop circles are really intricate. So if we're saying there's a military involvement, is it a device or some
well, I did my about 10 years stint in regarding this sort of stuff. Look, I mean, I think one of the best crop circle makers in the UK is Matthew Williams. I know him very well as a friend of mine, and I've seen what he can do, and he can even do the weaved ones. Right. But let me just give you an idea, okay? Everybody's talking about consciousness now, aren't they? Right? Let me take you back to 1994 when the Channel 4 television series were doing a show or something on crop circles. In fact, Linda Moulton Howe came over for that TV show. Matthew Williams was there, and he was asked to demonstrate creating a circle. He paid a farmer to allow him to go in and create a crop circle, and they filmed him creating this crop circle. But just prior to him going in there, they had some science guys, and they went in there with instruments. Absolutely nothing unusual about the crop formation, the crop in the field. Matthew goes in. A few hours later, he's done quite a very impressive. In fact, it was that impressive that people were taking photographs over the following week, and it was going into the newspapers that, oh yes, the aliens have landed again, and that sort of thing, But he made a very impressive crop circle. The same guys go back into that crop formation, and they're creating crazy results on the meters.
Yeah,
that was now. This is where that crossover happens. Why? Why is it something to do with consciousness, the intent of making it? Is there something going on that we're not aware of? And this is what's really interesting. Now, I was very close friends with the BLT research team and Nancy Talbot's work. And Levingood and the microwave evidence found in the plants, the exploded nodes, all sorts of different things. So say that, yes, there's something unusual going on in some of these locations, these circles. I think the more flamboyant ones with sigilized things and all sorts of things, I think they're more fake, to be honest. I think because looking at the evidence of some of the real good evidence. Now, they weren't massively designed. Do you know what I mean? They were a little bit more simplistic. But yes, there's a phenomenon here, and it goes back. I mean, we've got records that go back to the Mowing Devil days, and even
we got the first one in Hertfordshire, the Mowing Devil.
Yeah, exactly. But there's these old references and old drawings of stuff. They used to think the cloud. They used to draw clouds with a face in the cloud with a tube blowing a square down onto the ground. Because he's found a square on the ground or whatever, but They just didn't really know. So there is a real phenomenon here at present. But
I don't know if you remember actually
no.
speaking about consciousness. You mentioned orbs earlier. I mean, it was in the 90s. There was a famous video. It surfaced later on YouTube, and you can probably still find it. But it featured an orb in the middle of the day, basically
Flying
going
over.
zipping
Yeah,
around,
yeah.
zipping around
Yeah,
a cornfield, and then
yeah.
hey presto. So I mean, that's like a visual phenomenon of this as well, of actually creating. I know there's certain things with crop circles, like you can tell if it's been bent with a plank of wood. You can tell if there's a weird bend, like you said, on the node and all that kind of. So you can kind of differentiate between the hoaxes and the
Sure.
unexplained ones. But
Yeah, yeah.
you
But
know,
like Steve said, because there's a really good researcher in America called Dr. Simeon Hine,
right? Okay.
and he looks at fractals and geometry, and he thinks because he comes over and looks even the fake ones. There's something weird going on in them, and he thinks there's something to do with geometry,
It
fractals,
is something to do with
consciousness. Yeah,
geometry and
yeah.
consciousness. It's
Mm.
something that we're still learning about that.
Well, this
You
is
know what
it.
I mean?
Maybe
It
it's
certainly makes the land seem something special, like you said, because it's all around that area as well. I mean, so I mean,
which
how
is where
important?
we built stone monuments, didn't we? Circles
Yeah, I
and
mean, Stonehenge is right there, and
you
like you said,
know.
the military have an interest there. I know they do a lot of experiments. I mean, I think it was forget the guy's name now, but a writer, Nick Renshaw, he wrote about this, about experiments of militaries following orbs of light around Stonehenge, and some people could see these orbs, some people couldn't. So,
Yeah.
how important is location? And like you say, these locations probably have this phenomenon stretching back thousands of years, most likely.
Oh gosh, yeah, tens of thousands.
Yeah, long,
Definitely.
long time. In fact, they knew.
Sacred sites,
Yeah,
that's what they were.
they were.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
we gave birth to the new name to the because when we see a ball of light, it's an orb. It's a UAP. I mean, if you've got a cluster of them over Mexico City, they're all going to be UFOs, aren't they? But I mean, if you've got them in a house, they're going to be paranormal.
Mm,
But the ones associated around crop circles, and there are many videos of these.
mm,
The BOL, the ball of light, they didn't know what else to call it from ball of light.
Mm.
But how much of that are we seeing now? I mean, it just seems like it's just escalated more and more. I mean, we got the ball of lights in paranormal things, and
mm.
to be honest with you, the emissions of light out of them, all the only difference sometimes is scale. That's the only thing. And then we're seeing now where we currently are with all these in the sky, but we've seen them in association to crop formations. We see them in forest lands. They chase cars in Australia called the Min Min light. These ghost lights in Alabama and stuff. No matter what the name is,
Well,
they do
yeah.
seem to be similar, don't they?
And and going back to Rendlesham and Suffolk, you had the Will o' the Wisps, the Lantern Men,
Yeah.
these,
Exactly, yeah. There's definitely
phenomena.
something. But they were mostly associated to rural locations, weren't they?
Mm,
Which is interesting. And definitely forest lands and stuff. So,
I mean,
yeah.
the orbs of light is interesting because I was speaking to a lady. She's based out in California, and I think she lives in Los Angeles. And she's had a number of occasions where she's had these orbs of light following her car. She's also suspects she's undergone alien abduction, and I'm kind of speaking to her about that at the moment. But she says they're green orbs of light that they're almost transparent, but they're solid, and they follow her, and they sometimes appear in her house and things of that nature. We've had like the mini UFO incident of Miami, Florida, I think in 2012, where a similar sphere was entering rooms and disappearing through walls. And like Steve said, this is that kind of paranormal phenomena. It's all paranormal, but supernatural phenomena. Have you found
Mm.
any of that in your research, Matt? That there's a crossover between,
Yeah,
whether it's ghost UFOs, cryptids?
yeah, absolutely. And talk to people that have had UFO sightings, and some people bring them back home and I'll have poltergeist activity,
Yeah.
for instance. That happens quite a lot. I've spoken to quite a few people where that's happened, including myself. I've had weird stuff happen at home after being at Rendlesham.
Could you tell us
yeah,
a little bit
yeah.
about that, actually, Matt? What kind of stuff have you had? Have you experienced? Because
Well, I mean, the main thing was I had the binary code thing going on. That was weird. And then the following morning, I was out in the garden, and my wife saw it, and there was an orb above our house. Spotted it, and it's like, did it follow me home, or was this coincidence?
There are never any coincidences, man.
No, no, I don't think there is
No,
either.
no. We like
You
to
know,
convince ourselves that they are, but they're not.
yeah, yeah. And I always
There's a
try and
mechanism.
rationalize. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know. It's just like, yeah, oh, yeah.
yeah.
Do
I
you
mean,
think part of that
You-
might be that your
brilliant.
mind's more open to it? You know, that once you've seen something once, that your
Yeah,
consciousness has
absolutely. Yeah.
expanded.
I mean, my first experience was when I was about 4 or 5,
Right.
and I had this woman's face just come out of the wall and gave me a message, and it was like weird. I was awake, uh, but the importance for me as a child that my life went pretty crap after that. I won't go into the details, but I didn't have a very good childhood. But this just kind of preceded it for some reason. So that's always like, well, there's something weird
yeah.
about the world, and that's what opened my eyes really. And then here I am now. But then I got a science degree because I want to kind of understand and rationalize. I guess I'm always fighting that part of me as well. You understand that, Steve, a bit?
No, I understand it very well. I know what my life has been like since 7 years of age.
Mm,
Yeah, and it did take a turn, and I went through hell and all. So yeah, weird how things work out, doesn't it? And
mm,
it's like, but there is a mechanism. There's always a
mm.
mechanism at play.
I
And
think
people
so,
say
yeah.
coincidences. There are no coincidences. I'm seeing so many coincidences. They're not coincidences anymore. It's just that we haven't really got a better name for it. Multiple serendipities. Call them what you will, but
Synchronicities.
there's
And,
there's
Weird
this
synchronicities.
mechanism
Exactly.
associated to us. I mean, people sometimes don't experience anything until they get into the subject, and then it's like once this little switch goes into the mind and says, "Oh, I believe in these things," suddenly you start seeing them,
mm,
or experiencing them, and they tend to know where we've been and what we're doing.
sure. But I
It's,
think that there's a lot more people have had weird anomalous experiences than we think. Because I
Yeah.
go out a lot networking and film festivals and stuff, and they'll see my UFO badge and they get talking. Once they know it's okay to talk, they'll tell you all their stories, which is great.
It's
a
funny you
huge
say that
amount.
actually
Yeah.
about people having paranormal experiences because I mean, I've spoken about this before, and I think most people do experience the paranormal.
Hmm, I do.
And that includes UFOs because we have some
Yeah.
people mention paranormal and think of ghosts, but obviously it's anything science can't explain.
Yeah.
And you just dismiss them. You could
Mm,
probably look back at anyone could look back at their lives and stuff, and that could just be deja vu, it could be intuition, it could just
mm,
be precognition that you just
mm,
dismiss as a feeling. So, do you think moving forward, if we, as a collective of
mm.
researchers and investigators, if we start to study this as a more of a whole instead of separate phenomena, do you think we might
Yeah,
kind of get to the heart of what's going on?
yeah, that's a really good idea. I guess part of me is always aware. I mean, Steve probably know. Well, you both probably know what it's like when you immerse yourself in this subject. It can consume you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You go into a dark place. I
you
feel
do.
like I've gone there recently. I'm trying to,
No, I know what
trying
it's
to.
like.
So I think sometimes you have to step back, to be honest. But because maybe we're never
Yeah.
going to fully understand it.
No, but we strive to, though, don't
We
we?
do, yeah. And
We
it's
try and do as much, and then we hit a brick wall. Then we come again, run up something else, and then something else.
yeah.
We never give. We never. The foot never leaves off the the accelerator in trying to find out about this stuff. But
Oh no.
there's always another curveball around the corner. There's always something new, and you think, "Wow, okay."
It's
You
this.
know,
I mean, is this the trickster element that John Keel alluded
Yeah,
to?
yeah,
Maybe.
absolutely.
for sure,
Yeah.
I mean, are
absolutely,
you still
yeah.
experiencing things now, Mark? Are you still experiencing things as of today?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Just, I can hear things, for instance.
Yeah.
Maybe
Right.
maybe it's psychic phenomena.
I think
I've
once
always
you
had
open
that.
that door a little bit, Mark, I don't think it fully closes, to be honest with you.
No,
No, no.
it's
I mean, like it sounds like phenomena. Phenomena came knocking at my door at 7 years of age.
mm,
Sounds like phenomena came knocking at your door as
yeah.
well.
But
So
yeah,
that's your initiated experience, like mine,
mm,
and you've been placed on a path. It's hard to drag yourself off that path, isn't it? You always end up back on the damn thing.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know as an engineer, it sounds like, well, you know what, my career should have been all about engineering. In fact, I
so,
did some contract work at NATO in
mm,
RAF Wethersfield in Essex, and
mm,
that was my life. That was supposed to be my life, but
mm,
no, the damn thing keeps pulling me out and put me on this track again. So it is what it is. I've given up fighting it now, so it's 41 years in. I'm
mm,
still learning as much as I can. Anyway, you can't get through it all, but I think what's interesting is that since the days of Rendlesham, people are different, aren't they? People
mm,
Oh,
are,
yeah.
I mean, if this was to happen now
mm.
in
Oh gosh, yeah,
2025,
yeah,
can you imagine? We've got internet,
They'd be on TikTok.
cell phones. I mean, every single officer, security officer, would have had his own cell phone in his back pocket.
It'd be really interesting to see how it would be handled.
And the internet, probably access to the internet as well.
It would be global, wouldn't it? Yeah,
it would. Speaking about how things are different, though, I mean, you mentioned, Mark, that you found yourself in a bit of a dark place at times, and I've got two questions for you here. Actually, you said you found yourself in a bit of a dark place as a result of all of this kind of stuff. So, in my experience, when you do feel like that, you almost feed the phenomena. It's like a vicious circle. You're giving that phenomena energy. So, have you got any thoughts on that? And
that's a really good point. I mean, I provisionally call myself a Christian.
Right.
That's my kind of I mean, I'm not a massive believer. That's my background, and that gives me some comfort. And the times when I've had dark experiences, been visited by dark energies, I call on Jesus' name, and they go. I mean, it works for me. And I like sitting in empty churches and just being still.
There is something weird about it. I'm not a religious person, but there is something, like contemplative about churches. I'm with you there. The second part of that question was, you've got a background in music, obviously the pocket gods and things. You've done that for 25 years. Is that, well, two questions again. Do you find that's a place that you take yourself when you do want some normalcy? And secondly, I find that there is an amazing amount of paranormal researchers and investigators who have a direct connection to music, a background in music. That's that left side of the creative brain that kind of connects these two worlds.
And I should have an answer for this because I always get asked this question. I don't know. I like music. I feel compelled to do it, I guess. Like Steve's saying, it's calling, I guess. I feel compelled to do it.
Well, music is mathematics, and in a sense of speaking, and frequencies is
well, there's a ritualistic aspect.
It's mathematics, it's science, and science is magic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I decided to start making films, I made my first film, tell a story about my band, and then really enjoyed it. I thought, I want to make more. And what do I love most in life? It's the UFOs and paranormal. So I started making UFO documentaries, but because I don't think, like you were saying earlier, the phenomena is just UFOs. I think it's connected to the paranormal. It's all one thing. So people having to go at me, we can't do that. It's not, UFOs are not paranormal. Well, I think they are, and I want to look into it. And that's what I've been doing. And then music is a big part of my films. So as well, I enjoy making the soundtracks and,
It's like Steve said about frequency and vibration, all of those things. And there's a ritualistic aspect to music, just in listening to it, taking it in. I mean, you go back to shamanism. I know it's only beats and chants, but again, you've got that kind of thing there. So I do find
different state of consciousness.
Creative mind. I mean, do you plan to carry on with the music and blend the two worlds, Matt?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I did this song called "Song for First Contacts." Which was for a while the world's longest song, Guinness Book of Records. It's like 5.5 days long. So
you beat Taylor Swift there then.
So that was quite cool. But then some Indian guy came and did a really cool kind of Hindu epic thing. This is like 7 days long, which is fair enough. But I love music and being creative with it. I've just kind of been a bit disillusioned by the music industry and likes of Spotify and things, and because I get I'm not showing enough. I get millions of streams a year and get so little money for it.
It's £1.25 or something.
It's a few £100, but it's like it's not enough to live on. It's like it's just I'm quite successful band. It's like I don't know. It make the likes of Taylor Swift and Ed Sheeran are doing okay, but anyway.
Well, that's because they're all 14 to 19-year-old girls that like them.
That's
where
not a bunch of old guys. Yeah, it's true.
I mean, speaking of the entertainment industry, switching from music to film. I mean, we'll get to Disclosure, I suppose, at the end of this. But what are your thoughts on the notion that there are not so much hidden messages, but there's truths being drip fed to the public through films? Close Encounters of the Third Kind, E.T. back in the day. Spielberg's got a film coming out now that everyone's kind of seems to be chomping at the bit to see. So do you think we do get partial truths? Bearing in mind that the intelligence agencies have a real big role in Hollywood as well.
They did have a big influence on Hollywood, and obviously Nick Redfern did a lot of work on this. But yeah, there's definitely. But
You do.
I mean, it's kind of Adonis Huxley would have a lot to say about it, probably better than I could. Uh, but yeah, media is it's kind of brainwashing, isn't it, a little bit? So
Well, they know it's the tapping to the source of the mind of the watcher or the listener.
yeah.
And it's a direct path of communication and
Mm,
disinformation to take us
mm,
into the wrong.
Mm.
The problem is that news isn't really news anymore. It's entertainment,
mm,
and of course the Hollywood films drip feed all the time. Just looking at the new series of It, the
mm,
Stephen King
mm,
series, which is based on the two recent movies that they did.
mm,
When you talk about this, you're talking about light phenomena, which is the deadlights,
Mm-hmm.
mm,
you know, which is an intelligence
mm,
which reads your fears, it reads your consciousness and projects and makes a manifestation
mm.
of something that you're scared of. How close is that to the real phenomenon?
Yeah, yeah.
It's only people don't really make these connections, but yeah, they're all over the place. And of course, Spielberg obviously has got something coming out. Um, though it's not written in stone, it's called Disclosure, but I think it's going to be,
Mm,
because the big billboard that went up in New York a couple of
Mm.
days ago, but it doesn't say it's called Disclosure. It said Disclosure is coming soon, but it means as in the word.
yeah.
But it's all very tied in.
Mm,
His release of the movie is specifically tied into Age of Disclosure, the documentary,
mm.
yeah, which comes
Yeah.
first, and then of course this is released for June. We're 6 months away, guys, from this coming
Mm.
out. I mean, he even
Mm,
it's like it's going back in time. He even signed John Williams to do the music score for it. I mean, it's
mm.
just it's very repetitive here, but he's been a big impact in regarding Close Encounters of the Third Kind and ET, and then now again, I think there's slightly going to be a bit of a different tone to this movie because I think he's going to be making it more modern in
Mm,
regarding where we currently are in regarding phenomena.
I mean,
mm,
Spielberg hits on some paranormal aspects in Super 8 as well with interdimensional stuff. So
mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's no stranger
Mm,
to this. It's funny you mentioned news. I was thinking about this today, and Stephen King. If you look at The Running Man, which I know he wrote as Richard Bachman, I mean,
mm,
that's a great example of how the media can control what we see because they're essentially just running literal fake news, stuff that
mm.
didn't happen. Unless you were at these locations, you wouldn't know any difference. So, again, it's another example of like how the world could turn out. And this was like 30 years ago when this was
But
released.
that's not too far away from where we're going. It's that people now
Exactly.
getting their media now from the likes of X or TikTok because it's
Yep.
getting more direct from something happens.
you're more
Whereas
likely to get the truth,
you're
you
not getting
know.
a filter, are you, from the BBC or, for instance,
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
In
like
it
fact,
is. It's a
trying to
scary
get the
prospect
BBC
as well.
to do
it's
an article
interesting,
on.
yeah. Because
I've been trying to get.
whistleblowers doing it.
Right.
Whistleblowers are even before, I mean, yes, they've been interviewed for the news,
Mm,
but I'm seeing them going on podcasts and saying more
mm.
because they feel safer to say it
Yeah,
on
of
a
course.
podcast than a news channel.
It's all like you were mentioning that you're trying to get the BBC to create a documentary. Can you tell us a little bit
No,
about
no.
that?
So I was trying to just get them to cover the Rendlesham film, but it's hard work getting them to do anything because it's quite a good story. You've got 45 years, Christmas UFOs.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
Oh,
angles
yeah.
there they could do,
Yeah.
but I don't
absolutely.
know. Unless you're Nick Pope, you're not going to get on, are you? But
I
Well,
think what it's interesting you say about they're not interested in this because we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, didn't we, Steve? About
yeah.
although there's an entertainment aspect to all this, whether
mm,
it's ancient aliens or whatever, and there is a very big entertainment aspect
Yeah,
to
of
it,
course it is.
but it kind of helps to get interest up and draw people in. So then if they want to take it a bit more seriously, they can go and take it more
yeah.
seriously. So do you think it's important that we do
Mm,
build it from the
mm.
base level? Because then the BBC would possibly be interested in the vendors from
Oh
UFO.
no, no, definitely, and that's what I do with my films. I make them accessible. They're not for UFO people or paranormal. They're for ordinary people to think, oh, to relate to and maybe talk about their own experiences. That's why I do them. So I do make them entertaining. It's me
Yeah.
and my best mate Guy having a good time doing our things. And what we do, what I'm proud of in the Rendlesham film is that we 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 show it warts and all, the bits that go wrong, the bits of equipment not working, and we're not finding anything. We don't want to be like Ancient
So,
Alien, too super slick, or
Yeah,
yeah.
you
yeah.
always find something, and it's
I
because
know,
that's not
because
the real world, is
yeah,
it?
no, it isn't. How many times do we see that on TV shows and documentaries where
Yeah,
it
yeah.
all blimey, that's lucky. They've only been in the forest for 5 minutes and all hell
Yeah,
breaks loose. You know, editing and things like that, you know, it's down. Sometimes it is
yeah.
down,
So we
down
made,
to
we made
editing.
that conscious effort to keep it
Yeah,
really kind of naturalistic and real.
good
And
idea. I
Yeah,
think
because
it's
when you watch
important. It's
those
just as
shows,
important, isn't it?
yeah, because when you watch those shows and nothing happens, you kind of come away thinking, okay, well, that was a credible investigation. I mean, there was a
Yeah,
famous one at 30 East Drive a few years ago. We won't mention the presenter, which is well known.
right,
And
yeah,
it was
yeah.
clear that there was somebody yanking somebody by a rope to make out they'd been dragged. And it was like, oh my God.
I
And
know.
so, yeah, I mean, you should see more of that. I mean, you mention this a lot all the time, Steve, don't you? That you can't just make the phenomena happen on demand. And so,
Look, I know this. Look, from doing 41 years of
Mm.
being out there and doing this, you know, there's sometimes you can be in a great place, but it's just uneventful when you're there. And
yeah.
sometimes you can get caught off the hook. You know, you're just like, oh, I've been here 5 minutes, and fine, what's the chance of something happening? It just did. But there's no consistency. Let me tell you that there's no consistency. You
No,
can't plan. And this is why, you know, it's very, very problematic making shows
it is, yeah.
because you don't know if anything's going to happen. And
No.
if you've got to make it entertaining and something, this is why, you know, so many people in these TV shows and things have to fake things.
Mm,
Because what do you
yes.
do for that episode? If nothing happens, you can't have nothing happen.
No, I know it is
This
that
is
thing.
this it's not good for
I think
entertainment, really,
that's
to
where
be honest with
speculation becomes your best friend, to be honest with you, when you're in that situation, because you like you say, you don't want to be faking stuff. That's a sin. And no one
you.
will
It
ever
does
trust you
though, it
again.
does
No,
though, you
Oh,
know.
it does happen. Absolutely does happen. I mean,
Yeah.
we're heading towards that 90-minute mark. We're still okay for now. But I mean, I suppose we should speak about it's almost a dirty word, disclosure.
Mm.
What are your thoughts on this? Because obviously, no, I don't think anybody expects there to be disclosure as most of us would understand the word. But what do you think's behind all this? Is it just disinformation? Is there a genuine effort to get information out, or is it just smoke and mirrors? Or all
It's
of it?
this it's turned into this new religion, I think, of
Right.
disclosure. It's
Yeah.
in my opinion. And I think people are going to expect their lives to be miraculously changed once we get disclosure. It's like a mythical thing,
Mhm.
like the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
But you know,
It's always just
I wouldn't trust the US government or whoever's in charge of this to disclose the truth. I just wouldn't.
no.
I'm not being
It's
political.
actually
It doesn't matter what party there would be,
it's
whatever
actually
it is.
easier. It's easier to create another lie than it is to tell the truth.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
that's mm,
and what we're always doing is always one step ahead.
mm,
And then we're just trying to reach out for it, and it's like this, and it's just constantly,
yeah.
you know, and it's frustrating, but it keeps us on that edge forever. Don't you get tired of standing on the edge of the cliff? I mean, we've been doing this since the days of Project Blue Book, standing on the edge of the cliff, waiting just out of reach of getting it, and
Yeah.
you never
You
do.
know, I think a lot of people, Steve, and I'm sure you've got thoughts on this, Mark. I think a lot of people just pretty much ignore this disclosure at the minute. I mean, I don't want you to name names, either of you, but it's quite clear that there are people in there that are, whatever you want to say, in it for themselves, in it to make a fast
It
buck.
is an industry.
Yeah.
An
It's an
industry, all
industry,
right.
yeah. It's
And there's some dodgy things as well. I mean, there are some things that these people put out there, and you think, yeah, no, not having that, and and they make these claims of things. Oh yeah, because I've seen it. I'm going to put the video out, and they never come up with it. Yeah, it does happen a lot, and the problem is that you know when you're listening to the UAP hearings, and you got two guys there,
mm,
and they're asking the question, "What's Roswell?" And you think, Roswell? The kids in school know what Roswell is. And I just think that's it, turn off. You know, and I've just had enough. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, there's no great effort. All we're getting is another whistleblower, another photo, another video. And they keep trying to do this, thinking that, oh, right, fantastic, that's really interesting. And the public are daft. They probably don't even realize sometimes. They're like, hello, you're being stooged here. They're just keeping you appeased by another photo and another video and another whistleblower. But you're not really getting anything because we're only getting what we've got anyway. We don't need any more whistleblowers and other photos and videos. We need some evidence of what it is, how's it do what it does, why they're here, where they're coming from, that sort of thing. But no, you know, they just flash all that visual stuff in front of us and everybody goes, oh, fantastic, you know. But
yeah.
it's a shame, really, because real good science can happen. I mean, have you blanket monitored the forest, Mark? Have you?
No, no, that's a good idea though. That'd be a good
I
idea
know
to do that.
people. I know some
We
people
just
do.
we didn't have the budget for that, to be honest.
Ah, right. But
That's
over a
that's the issue.
longer term study, you could probably
Yeah,
do that. You
absolutely.
know, I mean, keep it secret, of course, but in key areas. Now, I would say to do it in key areas where you've been associated with, where you've heard the sounds, where you've heard this or seen something, because you know what, sometimes it does pay off.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think the key thing on there, Mark, is like we mentioned before, if is to not just go with a UFO mindset, is to actually go, researching this stuff as a phenomenon in general. So you're looking for all kinds of things. I mean, why do you think they keep these things secret ultimately? And again, I don't expect you to nail something to the post. That's a massive question, and there's loads of nuance to the answer you could probably give. But ultimately, why do you think they want? Is it to protect reverse technology? Is it they think people can't cope with the truth, whatever that is? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think, as part of it is there is, experimental technology going on. Maybe they've studied this phenomena and gained something from it, which they want. But what they want to do, they want to get some monetary value out of it, and that's the issue. Always follow the money. It's an old adage that serves you well. So I think we won't get disclosure until they've kind of fully patented whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if there were, and again, this is an if question, but if there was like some kind of disclosure, some full release of information, how do you think the human population would take it? Because it seems to be, I personally believe that the human population would probably take it pretty much in a stride, but others think there would be a breakdown of sorts. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no. There's two schools. I did a film actually called God versus Aliens about this. It's on Tubi in America, and it's mainly from a religious and spiritual point of view. And what I found out was that most of the main religions are already prepared for it. So
yeah, because they speak about
Catholic Church,
coexisting, don't they?
Yeah, so they're all ready for it, really. But I guess the issue is that, I don't think it's extraterrestrials, as my research has led me. And that, so if they disclose that, we have extraterrestrial life here, that's probably not the truth. So I don't know how we get to the truth, apart from finding it ourselves and then sharing it.
I think there's probably a massive big chess game going on between China, Russia, and the US in regarding all obtaining technologies, and playing with them and having toys themselves. And each three countries know each other's got them. And sometimes they like to demonstrate, look at our new toy, so we'll fly it over your country. And then that does happen. I mean, look at, we've been a year almost now, isn't it, since the UAP descended upon New Jersey in the skies. And clearly the phenomena was up there in the sky. And then the US decided to launch all their toys as well, just to cause absurdity and confusion. So the FAA can turn around and say, don't worry, we cleared them, they're ours. So basically, it's like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. What you do is you just dismissed all the fact that real phenomenon was in the sky as well. Do you know what? It's such a clever thing, But some of these things might be from other countries as well. And look at us, we're demonstrating. They like to do things like that. But do you know what? I think a lot of stuff like that happening. Whilst they can weaponize these things, which seems to be the main point of all this, then they're never going to tell us because it's not good for them to put all the cards out.
They're never going to tell us the truth. That's what I'm saying.
No,
they'll make up more lies.
I understand that as well. Actually, I do actually understand it. People have asked me if I sat around some type of committee meeting and they said, "Look, Steve, these is the technology that we've got." Which we do have to weaponize because if we don't, China are. When China are, then Russians are. Flipping it, I'd be saying, well, you better weaponize it then. What the hell are we supposed to do? Well, should we tell all the public about it? And I'd say no.
Well, it's like, I had this conversation with someone saying, the UK doesn't have chemical weapons, bioweapons. Yeah, of course it does. They tell you it has it. If our adversaries have got them, we've got them.
Yeah.
Important Downs renowned for this type. I know it's not official, but I mean, can I just pick up on something you said there about not being extraterrestrials? And like you say, I think a lot of people are coming to that conclusion. And if you remember, I think it was Tucker Carlson, regardless of what you think of him, but he was talking about a demonic aspect to all of this. And that's the first time that's kind of really been spoken about in mainstream news. You mentioned interdimensional creatures. Do you think if these entities are interdimensional creatures, or certainly not aliens, but non-human intelligence, that kind of gets us to question our own reality, doesn't it? Because it's like you said, we can accept that travelers might come from another planet as long as you can get around space travel and somehow and all that kind of stuff. That's like natural. We kind of can understand that. But creatures from another dimension or another realm that could be seen as demons. I mean,
Yeah.
and what are your thoughts? Do you think there's some of this to it all? You know?
Yeah, I mean, I do. Because actually, in the Rendlesham film, we've got a good friend who's a Christian minister, but very open-minded, and he studied the occult, and it goes back to all the biblical sightings of angels and ghosts appearing in Samuel and things like that, and then you've got the occult tradition. You've got Aleister Crowley and him manifesting these
Wow.
various entities. So you've got all that going on, and suddenly angels and demons, they disappear, and then you get UFOs and aliens. There's got to be a
It's just a
continuation.
presence that goes back thousands of
Yeah,
years.
it's just a different way of
Yeah, it's
interpreting.
just a phenomenon is evolving.
Yeah,
That's it. Just evolves.
or evolving. Yeah.
We go through these steps in history. If you go back in time, you can see where it's done this massive big step of
Mm,
evolution, the phenomena,
Oh
just
yeah.
to the next stage, and that's where we are now. It's just on this next stage.
I mean, even the Men in Black, you get those, don't you? Because obviously, Men in Black today, they're seen in like kind of 50s attire stuff. But you go back to the earlier centuries, and you've just got them literally dressed like dark priests, basically. And there's loads of accounts of that kind of stuff. So, I mean,
when doing the Rendlesham film, I was contacted by a woman up at one of the RAF bases in Norfolk. God, which one is it? I'll tell you in a minute. And she'd been seeing drone sightings quite a lot,
right.
but very weird drone sightings. And she got visited by a man in black.
Really?
I'm just trying to find his business cards.
Is it when we talk about Man in Black? Are we referring to the government Men in Black?
Yeah, this is a special.
Right.
This is a special agent. I'm not talking about maybe an extraterrestrial.
I've had that as well.
You've had that, yeah.
Well, I had 3 police officers reporting, seeing an object, and I managed to find the details, and the plan was to interview them, but they were all visited by officials from the MOD, and scared away from talking to me. So these people do exist, but we do have a phenomena going back. We don't see so much of it now, to be honest with you. I mean, it's like, again, the evolving is, we don't see the space brothers. We don't really have the weird Men in Black guys very much now, but we're seeing, we do have structured craft in the sky. In fact, Brazil's going through that particular rise at the moment where there's structured craft as well as balls of light being seen. But most throughout the UK, when people are contacting me now, they're saying they've seen a UFO in the sky, they're sending me balls of light, photographs of balls of light, orbs, things like that. Occasionally the odd sphere, and occasionally the structured crafts, but it's turned around. It used to be the other way around, but now we're seeing, so there's definitely something changing, definitely something.
Yeah,
there's no way you can see the lighthouse from that forest, though, is there?
No.
Let's just get that out of the way with.
Not buying that one.
No, it's not there anymore.
And we're certainly in interesting times, that's for sure. Look, Mark, it's been brilliant speaking.
Thank you.
It's been absolutely fascinating. We have to wrap this up, but before we let you go, what have you got coming up? Any more films? Any writing? The floor?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm making a film on the Holy Grail.
God, you've got a challenge there.
And the connections to Sir Francis Bacon. I'm from St Albans, and this is where he's buried. And there's lots of links to secret societies, the Rosicrucians, and things like that, and secret ancient knowledge. So I'm thinking that the Holy Grail, that's what it is.
Whilst you're on that track for the Holy Grail and these Rosicrucians and stuff, you know what? You're going to find telltale signs of ritualistic practices that links it right to the phenomena where you left now, where you are now. It's all you're going to come full circle.
Yeah,
absolutely. Mark, we'll have to have you back on when that's out, when that's ready, because that'll be
thanks, Marcus. Yeah, love
discussion. That'd be absolutely, and again, it'd be interesting to see, like Steve said there, how it ties into, if it does, to what we've been speaking about today.
Will do, no doubt. Thank you. And thanks, Steve.
Brilliant.
I really loved your comments. Brilliant. Thank you.
No, thanks, Mark. It was really enjoyed that.
It really was. It was absolutely fascinating speaking to you. Thanks very much. And thank you guys for joining us as always. Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you check us out on social media, and make sure you subscribe to our channel. Also, check out the Anomaly Project podcast.com for further news, articles, and information. And from all of us, have a happy Christmas and a happy New Year. Until next time, goodbye and take care.